Welcome everyone to today's episode of Boardroom Beats. I'm Amreen Mulla, the Associate Editor at CXO XPERTS, and joining us today is Mr. Abhijit Dey, a distinguished banking expert with over 17 years of experience in the BFSI sector, specializing in API and conversation banking products. Today, we will delve into the evolving landscape of API ecosystems in Indian banking. Welcome, Mr. Dey, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Amreen. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me here. And thanks for that introduction. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure.
So let's start right at the beginning. So could you provide us with an overview of the current state of API integration in the Indian banking sector and its evolution to meet the demands of digital transformation?
Sure. For that, let's go back to 7, 8 years back, right? Because actually the API banking journey started in 2015-16, right? When or precisely in all the industry, right? Banking is one of the industries, but in 2015, when there was a huge wave of digital transformation came across industries, banking, insurance, multiple other financial sectors, even in manufacturing, right? In fact, today morning only I was talking to one of my old colleagues, and we are talking about some automobile industry, right? There also that APIfication actually started from 2017 or 16 type, when we or the industry experts, they started thinking that it's probably not the best choice to integrate through databases or to dependent on a non API based DB to DB connectivities, right? Because there are a lot many security nuances are there. There are a lot many performance nuances are there, right? So it all started in 2016-17 when digital transformation in banking and other industries, it just started. And obviously, to achieve the go to market strategies, your targets and all, you need some better resilient technology which can, in a agile and in a very much cyclic way, can implement the projects, right? Your all of your targets, your programs and all should be matched within the target timeline and all. And for that, API was the best choice we had that time. And if you see in last 7 years or 8 years, and especially post COVID, right, when we actually felt that probably digital is the only solution. And that time, if you see in COVID, there are so many uh, processes across organizations become digitized. How it was possible? If we didn't have APIs those days, and or this entire API, the game of APIfication wouldn't have started in 2016-17, probably in 2020, when that huge wave of demand came for digital transformation or digitization, that wouldn't be possible to meet, right? So with this, if you see in last 8 years now today, almost all the large organizations, they are having at least 2000 APIs internally. And as per the reports which I have read in multiple forums and all, it's around 20% of those APIs are in open API in nature, right? And those open APIs are available in public internet through gateways and all, right? So this is the current status. And nowadays, I mean, in a very holistic way, if I have to say, any digital transformation project without API, we just can't even think, right? In fact, every organizations have their um, API first architecture or API first principle, right? So this is how the trend is right now today.
Okay. So, sir, of course, there are a lot of factors that affect how a bank can, not only adopt but also scale their APIs. So, what would you say are some key challenges that Indian banks face when it comes to adopting and scaling APIs, especially when it is concerning the regulatory compliance, security, integration with legacy systems?
See, one, you know, I'll not say it's a perennial challenge, but one very common challenge we face is that uh, there are two different segment of applications. One is that legacy one, the other one is the new age modern technologies based no applications. Now, on legacy based application, converting them into API driven or API first application, it's challenging because first you need to upgrade your application, or maybe some part of that application you have to upgrade, right? Then you can think of the API. But in case of modern and newest technologies, definitely all these applications itself are running on API based architecture. But uh, the challenge mitigation, if you think about, I know there are middle layers like ESBs, there are middle layer like Kubernetes are there, right? In through Kubernetes we can actually create, we can actually orchestrate all these APIs, right? So challenges are there, solution is also there, but at the same time you have to implement that solution. How quick you can implement those um, solutions, or how easily or seamlessly you can implement and roll it over, right? That is the actual benchmark between the tech teams, right? But other than this, there is another challenge which I can see. Maybe we can deep dive into it later. Is that API sprawling? Because why we are making APIs, right? We are making APIs because there are business needs, right? Or there are product needs. Now, the moment we started building up APIs, and now creating API is very easy, right? There are so many APIM solutions available in the market. Within a day you can create a new API and you publish it, you launch it, right? And everything is very seamless. In fact, probably you have also seen there are so many articles available in internet where we are saying, okay, using GenAI or using OpenAI we can create API within seconds. My documentation, everything will become very seamless, very flawless, right? Because these all are generative AI based thing. Now this let's say we have reached to that stage where using AI and all, we have started building APIs and all. Now, what will happen, or probably it has already started being happening, is that APIs getting published and developed in a very, sporadic way, right? So governance is very important. Otherwise, what will happen that API sprawl will happen, right? We'll end up, or probably we have already into that stage where we are developing APIs within our perimeter in numerous way. We are not even thinking whether that use case is matching with these APIs or not, or probably this API which I'm going to build, do we have any such existing API or not? Right. So these are the challenges. And see, one more thing, with these new cloud-based adoptions and all, again, developing API is very easy. Now, the moment I've developed and published it, I need to do a proper testing. My, AppSec testing, my, InfoSec testing, it has to be there. Sometimes we missed it, right? Or probably the, deep nuances of that API is being missed out while we are doing the testing and all. So this is one challenge we have. I can tell you this may affect the industry.
Of
Yeah.
course. So, like when we talk about regulatory framework in India, especially when it comes to banking and finance, how do you see it evolving to support the growth of, API ecosystems?
See, one good thing, and I can tell you we are very fortunate that uh, whenever banks or in this, in insurance or all these regulated entities, whenever we are building something, there are proper guidelines and framework we have, right? Now, having said that, when new APIs are being published or new API being developed, we maintain that or we follow that framework, right? Recently, if you see from multiple government, or multiple authority agencies, right? For example, NPCI or other organizations, the way they are publishing their APIs, the way that India digital stack is getting developed, right? It is all a regulatory, it is all within the framework. We just have to follow it, right? So this one thing is actually helping us to be on the path. And API is such a thing, it is The use case is common, but the way API is developed, the way API is designed, it is not industry agnostic, right? So, for example, if one bank has published their balance inquiry API, the request and response parameter or the API signature will differ to another bank's balance inquiry API, right?
Of course.
But the use case is same. So the third party who is consuming this API, for him, there is a two different integration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, since this framework and governance is there, now we can tell you that the API will be built by all the organizations in a very standardized way. So this conformance or the standardization of API is there, or it's getting built, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that will definitely impact in a very positive way to the industry.
Mm-hmm. So, how important would you say interoperability and standardization are in building a scalable API ecosystem in Indian banking? Like, what are the steps taken to promote standardization across in the industry?
See, see, standardization should come from a common authority, right? For
Mm-hmm.
example, UPI, right? Now, UPI is what? All the banks are allowing their customers to make a payment through a certain payment mode.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine there is no authority in between. Then all the banks would have published their own journeys and all. But if you see the journey, the payment journey of UPI is common, right? The way you are making payment in one PSP app, in other PSP app also, you are making the payment in same way.
Of course,
So
yes.
this standardization will come from a common authority who is holding the pen across the industry and who is taking the decision and who is actually giving the guidelines. And we have already, we are already going into that direction already. So
Mm-hmm.
that is how it will happen. And definitely it is very important. Otherwise, what will happen? The entire integration will become very sporadic, right? See, the actual API consumer is the third party fintechs and other organizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, for them also, integrating with multiple bank and getting same API, same use case being integrated multiple times in a different format and shape is also time consuming, right? So this one standardization will definitely help, and I think we are going into that direction already.
Okay. And saying like we were talking about a regulatory a framework as well as standardizing these. So along with this, of course, there's always a rise of cyber threats and maintaining security is extremely crucial. So what are the best practices you believe is for ensuring the security of APIs in the Indian banking sector?
There are a lot many technological way or technology way where through which you can secure your API, right? For example, you have your best of the best API gateway. You put all type of available security measures on top of the gateway. You have a throttle mechanism and everything. I mean, all those advanced threat protections also are there. I mean, why to wait for a incident to happen? Why can't we predict that propensity of a incident, right? But the problem here is these all are the technology thing. But uh, and probably this all will um, help you when that attack has happened, right?
Mhm.
But if there is no attack, still are you safe? If that is a question, right? In that case, my answer would be that let's have a contextuality of the entire API management,
Mhm.
right? For example, if you don't have any API consumer, right? Then just don't publish that API into gateway, right? You build or you publish your API, you build your API only when there is an use case. Otherwise, you know, the problem with being shadow or zombie API, I mean, shadow APIs are the APIs which uh, are not in play, but still it exists. And it will impact, it sometimes impact your entire API ecosystem. Zombie APIs are the APIs which exist, probably you don't even know. There are not proper versioning or documentation of those APIs. And all of a sudden, because of some changes, those APIs gets I mean it get reactivated and it create a huge mess around
Mm.
your ecosystem. So these type of API or propensity of having shadow or zombie APIs you will have to reduce, right? You should have a complete single point dashboard through which you can even see which all APIs are not in play for last couple of months, and you need to talk to the business and product that whether you really need these API, we can just put it into a sabbatical mode, right? So these are the, you know, you can say more like a backend governance you should do when you are, dealing with API management and publishing APIs.
Okay. So APIs certainly fuel a lot of innovation as well. So could you
Definitely.
share an example like of how APIs have been leveraged by the banks to, drive innovation, enhance customer experiences, as well as create new financial products or services?
See, I personally believe, and this is completely my personal thought, is that none of the innovation banks have done in last couple of years, or any organization has done in last couple of years, has been live without the impact of API, right? Or the involvement of an API, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, WhatsApp banking. Using WhatsApp, we are now, customers can, manage their queries and all. They can reach out to banks. They are getting their queries solved and all, right? Now, this
Mhm.
is a best example of open API because. Uh, Other than having mobile banking, internet banking kind of channel, you are still having another channel which is completely conversational in mode. Also, at the same time, with that channel, you can service your customer. You can, give a better offers to your customer, right? So this one use case, definitely, I would say that probably without API, it wouldn't be possible, right?
Yeah. So, sir, what would you say, like talking about open banking initiatives, they are becoming a global trend. So,
Hmm.
how are these initiatives influencing the development of API ecosystems in India?
Open banking, if you see, it started in Europe, right, in 2016-17.
Mm-hmm.
And then in India, the actual wave of open banking came in 2018 when connected banking, then WhatsApp is another use case of open banking, applied use case. So it has a huge impact. Nowadays, if you see, even with UPI, what are we doing actually? We are making payment. We are actually doing a financial transaction, but not within the mobile app of the bank, right? I'm doing it through a third party. So this is another use case of open banking. Then account aggregator, where I can link my account. I can have a single view dashboard of all my financial, you know, assets, my financial, my entire financial position. I can see in one single dashboard, right? So these are the positive impact of open banking in India. And my belief is that this use cases, the uses rather, it will increase year by year because there are so many other use cases and developments are on the card, right, on open banking space.
Mm-hmm. So from this, I believe
Sorry.
that fintech partnerships can be transformative. Like for example, now we use GPay or any other like Paytm or PhonePe. So these are all fintech partnerships. So what do these collaborations like? What role do these collaborations play in accelerating the development of API ecosystems?
See, API development is something what banks or organizations do at their own stride. I mean, they build it in their own way.
Mhm.
But adoption, definitely in adoption per se, uh, third party partnership, this all will help us a lot, right? Because ultimately, if I'm publishing an API in my internet or my public gateway, who will be the consumer? It's the
Mhm.
third parties, right? So definitely the adoption thing has a very positive impact of all this, fintech partnerships.
Okay, great. So looking into the future, what emerging trends and technologies do you think, do you believe that will shape the API ecosystems in the Indian banking and finance sector?
I think this AI driven API development that will has a huge impact because in India the uh, banked customer is very high, and it is increasing year by year. So adoption, and obviously in India, digital adoption is also getting higher in every year, right? If you see the UPI transactions, the numbers, recent number been published, it actually give a forecast us that people are getting more inclined towards digital transactions and all, and digital services and all. And the way we are planning our financial inclusion programs, right? The way we are trying to uh, bring unbanked customer into banking canopy, right? So I think that development of APIs or any new technology will be very much significant, uh, and it will help us to reach out to that financial inclusion programs goal. Now, if we have to achieve that, we need very easy and seamless, I cannot say flawless, but seamless development and availability of APIs, right? And there maybe that AI bit will help us a lot. Because in API, if you see nowadays, all the API itself is a product, right?
Mhm.
Now, when you are building a product, there has to be a product specification. There has to be a thing that you deliver as a product. Now, in case of API, what we deliver? We deliver the API documentation, right? That document itself is a API as a, I mean, itself is a product.
Mhm.
Now, how the document is built, whether it is properly versioned or not, or whether all the scenarios are being covered or not, there AI can help us a lot. And I have seen there many, there are a few recent development globally where AI has, or rather, Gen AI has given a uh, very positive contribution towards making those documentation and all. So this one part, I think a new change is coming.
Okay, that's great. So, sir, your insights today have been incredibly enlightening. Like, I myself got to learn a lot of new things
Thank
that
you.
I probably did not consider earlier, like the usage of, AI in creating API. While we do see it, it's different hearing it from a banking expert like yourself. So, thank you for sharing your expertise and helping us understand the critical role of APIs in shaping the future of banking in India. Uh, so, to our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to join us for more discussions on the latest trends and innovations in the financial sector. This is Amreen Mulla signing off. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.